Hashtag BasementFlowIsReal. My name is Dave Cannon. Of course, I'm your host throughout this venture this evening. And tonight, I've got a very, very extremely special guest on the line right now. The gentleman that I'm about to introduce you to is a philanthropist, stylist, entrepreneur, the prince of fashion. People, hashtag BasementFlowIsReal. Put your hands together for my guy, your guy, Mike B, ladies and gentlemen. Mike B, you there?
Yo, what up?
Dude, how's it feeling, man?
I'm blessed, man. You know, fried chicken is good. My God is great.
Listen, I'm online one day, probably about social media a couple of weeks ago, and I see that there's a pic. One of your brothers, Paul, posted a picture of you with Nas, and you got this stylish game down to a T, to a science. Prince of Fashion, that's what I'm seeing all online, Mike B. Tell us about how that started. How did you get into that, and what's your position on that now?
How I got started into it? Well, as far as, I've always had the love for fashion, clothing, garments, since I was little. My parents, my moms used to take us shopping. Me and my brothers, Paul and Greg, used to take us shopping when we was little. And, one of the games that we used to play was find a new designer. And, we used to run around the store, me, Paul, and Greg, and, we'd find different new designers from Liz Claiborne to Jordache to Pierre Cardin and all of that, Bill Blass. And, it started from the love of that, and then, just coming up, running around in the streets and, seeing my elders and my OGs on how they was putting it down. It just really started to really fascinate me, and how my older cousins would do it and all that too. So it's like, to be honest with you, it's like my superheroes coming up in fashion were like street hustlers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I looked up to those guys. They were like superheroes to us to me because they always either had the fly kicks on, the fly outfit, and everything, the way everything just coordinated, and
right.
They stepping in and out of fly rides and doing their thing. But as I started to get older, some of them used to actually send me downtown. They'd go in their pocket, pull that knot out, and send me downtown with either like their girl or one of their homies to get some shopping done for them.
Right.
So so early, not knowing that I was already doing personal styling, you know what I mean, and personal shopping for these cats early, so I guess I was kind of like born into it, and eventually, just the love of it just became organic. Now, as far as moving later on throughout the high school years and stuff like that, I used to do a lot of design on my clothes and paint sneakers, and that's during the era when everybody was doing the rips and the jean jackets and the graffiti on the back of the jackets and all of that too. So
Right.
I was always also into art because I took commercial art after high school, and we were always doing that graffiti. You know what I mean? So I guess all of that designing and stuff like that came in early as well too. Now, moving forward, as far as being organized and turning this into a career, I would probably say it came along through the days of that bad boy era, where Groovy Lou brought me into this. Now, learning the industry was a little bit before the bad boy thing because, I don't know if you know, but me and my crew, we was always rappers, and, that just being a rapper at the time and, doing these light little shows here and there downtown, that was kind of like also showing me the get down, like the
Right.
move around, you know what I'm saying? And once, Groove brought me into the whole bad boy flow, of being like, his assistant. Groove at the time was the in-house stylist, and for the entire boutique as Bad Boy Puff was just getting this company started. That right there came along the lines of dressing, big and Mace, 112, Craig Mack, Carl Thomas, and that whole flow. But then, and LOX and all of that time of being Groove's assistant and then being Puff's personal liaison, all of that coincided, showing me how to really move in a room full of vultures in this game. So I think that's really where this whole styling thing put it in perspective, how we would do these photo shoots and videos and just personal shopping for Puff, and from there, like all these other labels started sending their artists to Bad Boy, to Puff, basically to get that New York swag.
Right.
So that's where it came into us, styling Outkast early in the years, and we was babysitting Usher as he was a little baby, and Darnell Jones, and that's how we caught like that whole Wu-Tang flow early with Method Man and Ghost and Ray and all of them. So that was really what really set it off for us.
Now, Mike, let me ask you this. Let me go back to the Puff days, because when the viewers, when we hear stylist, we may not know what that entails. We see, especially in the Bad Boy era, the one that you're talking about, Big, Craig Mack, there was a lot of style and flavor. What makes a stylist that stylist? I mean, is it about the colors? Is it about the combination? Is it about what made you, go from the intern or assistant to being the main person that's styling Puff and the rest of the crew?
To put it in perspective, a stylist is somebody who basically not only just knows how to go shopping and spend money and get fresh clothes. Mm-hmm. Anybody can do that, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, styling it's basically dressing a client, doing personal shopping for a client, and putting these garments and these different looks together, making them fly, enhancing their style without taking them out of their characteristic. But still yet making them feel comfortable with what they're doing.
Right.
According to whatever ambiance or, whatever event they may be, the agenda at hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that being said, how I kind of became a stylist, after Big's untimely demise, Groove kind of like outgrew the company and kind of moved on, started doing his thing, Groovy Styles, and that, from me being Puff's personal assistant, it's funny, but that put me in a position, because after Groove left, now here comes the second generation of Bad Boy.
Right.
You got Shine Poe, you got Loon, you got Mason's Comeback again, you got Black Rob, you got G-Dep, Mark Curry, Carl Thomas is still there. We even had a nice little wave with New Edition. So I don't know exactly how it happened, but I was just a hustler, and I just always wanted more for myself. Rather than just being this intern for Puff and being Groove stylist, I always wanted to, once I learned the game, I never actually knew that this styling thing can actually be a career, right?
Right.
So it wasn't until my big sister, June Ambrose, really put this, made this, put more clarity on this to where you can actually get a shopping budget,
right?
And then still charge your compensation separately, right? So not only are you going shopping and doing what you're doing, but now you're getting paid for your time. You understand?
Right.
So that right there, as I started, doing these photo shoots and these videos for Rob, Let's Get It, and Special Delivery. Mind you, for Special Delivery, I didn't just style that video. I designed every outfit for that video for Special Delivery. And I also did all the artwork for Special Delivery. All those colors, everything, all those designs that look like FedEx.
Right.
I did all of that. You know what I mean? So moving forward, Puff started coming to these photo shoots and started seeing, what I was bringing to the table for these guys. And, one day, it leads from one day to another, so, where's my size at? Or what'd you get for me? And, I just made it a habit from moving forward time I did a shoot, I would always make sure I had a personal stash for Puff, right?
Right.
So then, after the shoot, I'd go to his office, I'd drop this off, big homie, this is for you. I just finished knocking out the whatever shoot today, boom. So he'd be like, oh, okay. But then later on, moving forward, Norma Argenblick was Puff's personal executive assistant at the time, and Norma was like, well, why don't you have Mike B shop for you? She was like, yo, you need a personal assistant, stylist right now. You need a personal stylist, somebody who can keep everything in order for you. So one day he was like, yo, just meet me at the crib tomorrow morning, and that's all she wrote. But it was also what also turned into another organic flow was he was starting Sean John at the time.
Right.
And as Sean John was starting to progress, he hired this kid Dowie Child to be the creative director. But yet at the same time, me being Puff's personal stylist, I knew everything that Puff liked. So that kind of put me in the position of being Dow's co-creative director for Sean John at the time. So here we are producing our first fashion show not our first fashion show, but my first time being a part of the production of a huge fashion show was when we did our first show at Cipriani's, which was pretty much as major as, I guess, Kanye doing his show at Madison Square Garden. Right. So back then we were kind of like breaking the barrier of letting people know that, we don't need to do a fashion show at Bryant Park or Lincoln Center. You know what? We're going to turn this giant banquet hall into a fashion house, you know what I mean? And we put on one of the biggest fashion shows in history, which, was definitely legendary.
But now, Mike, let me ask you this, because I don't want to gloss over this. We're talking about Bad Boy back in its embryo stage, before it was really Bad Boy, to where it blew up.
So you're talking 9-5,
the age that you're talking about is serious. How much did you feel pressure at that time? Did you sense that this movement that Bad Boy was doing was going to take it to that stage that it took it to? And if so, how much does that apply on you? Because, these guys are out there. I mean, it's a whole era of clothing design at that time with Bad Boy. I mean, Bad Boy had a signature look. Everyone knows about it. When the Locks was with him, Big, Mace. How much pressure did that put, or were you in front of that thing and were able to kind of dictate the course of it?
Well, during that time, I was with Groove. I was Groove's co-pilot. So it was like, we went through different phases with Bad Boy. First, we went through the jerseys. You know what I mean? And I'm talking the early stage of the jerseys, not the later on when everybody started doing the Mitchell and Ness. I'm talking like going to Crosby's and buying regular jerseys and team joints and just putting it with the caps with Mace and LOX, and there was also, it was just during a time of us just trying to be ahead of it and going left to what everybody was doing. So, it was like going to the Harley Davidson store and copping these mean Harley Davidson jackets that nobody was even thinking about. It was about going to Genesis and getting these leather Vances, these motorcycle jackets, putting it on 112, which was an R&B group, but dressing them like rappers. So it was still, going to Versace and doing this shopping. Now, during this time of the Versace era, a lot of people that know Puff and Johnny Versace, bless the dead, were pretty close friends. So during this time, Johnny would shut the store down for us and basically let us walk through the store and do our thing. So as Puff and Johnny are walking through the stores, picking out what they like, me, Groove, and Big, we're over on the side picking out our own things, right? But yes, and still, Versace didn't make Big and Tall. None of these high-end designers made Big and Tall that Big was rapping about. Moschino, DKNY, Versace, you know what I mean? Cesar Pagani, none of them was doing Big and Tall. So what we were doing was basically we would pick out our fabrics. We would pick out what we wanted from Versace, bring it to the counter, and basically bring it to our own personal stylist, our own personal tailor, which at the time and still presently to this day was 5,001 flavors. So we would bring everything to Guy. Guy would go Persian lamb hats and the Versace silk shirt with the salmon linen slacks and the salmon gaiters to go with all of that. Like, so that's what we were doing for Big. Like, what we were doing is we were trying to take that next level of what Hev was doing.
Right.
Because at the time, Hev was the big fly guy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
For the streets. But what we were trying to do is we were trying to take Big's gangster lyrics, but still flip him on this new player, super fly, like luxurious looks that, you know, was looking like just pure cashmere thoughts on everybody. And, you know, I think that's what really set the trends. And, you know, next you know, you come into these clubs and you see all the big other ballers, you know, rocking their silk shirts and all of that. So what we was basically doing is just showing everybody, yo, this is what some of our big homies, the street hustlers, is doing, and we're going to bring it to the forefront.
Now, did you get resistance from the artists? I mean, Big, the Locks, guys. Are they saying, I don't really want to wear no silk. Give me some Timberland boots and some jeans, or are they open to it?
Nah, not at all. Because at the same time, we were still doing the Versace suits with a good pair of jeans at the time with the construction Timbs. You know what I mean? And I really feel like the construction Timbs, although, like, yes, we all know the construction. The Timberland was made for the white man basically while he's working construction.
Right.
But what I feel is, you know, the culture itself of hip-hop turned Timberlands into a lifestyle shoe. You understand?
Right.
So it was like that signature hip-hop look. Like, that was now we're going into another phase, because at one time it was about the gazelles. It was about the pinstripe Lees with the permanent crease. It was about that good bomber leather jacket or the sheepskins or the British Walkers. So now the footgear is going into these mean construction Timbs and the field boot. And then once Juice came out, Pac was doing the 40 Belows, and the 40 Belows became that next style for fashion, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, it's crazy, because as you coming up, as I was coming up, like I said, you know, I was always looking up to the street hustlers.
Right.
They was always on that style of fashion. You know what I mean? And then the rappers and then the ball players wanted to look like the street hustlers.
Right.
But nowadays it's like, not to go too far ahead, but nowadays it's like everybody is looking at the rappers to see what they doing rather than paying attention to the streets, but not knowing that these rappers got stylists, like, you know, and I'm not here to blow the whistle on everybody or play anybody, but I mean, you know, I guess that's just the way it is.
So let me ask you this: Puff at the time, Diddy is killing it at the time. Fashion is his thing. We've all seen Making the Band and things of that nature. How difficult is it when you're his personal? I mean, do you find yourself at that time having to be so far ahead of the game, or is it really not as difficult as one may think, because you have the eye and you have the idea for it anyway, so it kind of just comes through as a collage?
What it is what made it easy for me is because I just had self-confidence in self. And you know, I learned even more confidence, and I learned even more of an eye of detail being around Puff and Groove. So, you know, I already knew how to put my looks together. I was coming to the office every day, POLO'd out, head to toe. Like, and that's just from me and my crew from Greenberg, me, Mark, Negay, and Toy. Like, we were called Rockefellers long before Dame Dash and, you know, Jay even had the record label. And, you know, we was doing our thing, so we was always polo down, guest down, nothing less than guest, the Tommy Hill figures, and you know, we was doing our thing early, so I already felt like I already had the style. So for Puff to recognize that in me, or anyone else in the office to recognize that in me, then that means they trusted what I was doing and bringing to the table.
Right.
Now, being around Puff for so long and working alongside with Groove, I already knew what Puff liked. So when it was time for me to step into that position, I knew what colors that Puff didn't like. I knew what colors, like if he's doing a performance, I knew to make sure that I had that all-black outfit for him because he likes to wear all black during a performance or whatever the case may be. If we're in a particular city or a state or whatever the case may be, make sure you have that look that's going to coincide with what that city is doing with their style, but still put a splash to what we do.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
To make it relevant, like, you know, so,
yeah.
and receptive. So, you know, it was no real pressure for me because at the end of the day, it was easy. That's what we were doing. That's what I was already doing before all of that. Like, you know what I mean? So it became easy as a layup, basically.
My guy Mike B's here. Easy as a layup. We got some more questions. The Fashion Prince is in the building. We'll be right back. Hashtag Basement Flow is Real. Dave Cannon, Mike B. We'll be right back.
Biggie. This goes out to you. This goes out to you and you and you and you. This goes out to you. This goes out to you. This goes out to you and you and you. Your reign on the top was short like leprechauns as I crush so-called willies, thugs, and rapadons. Get in that ass quick fast like Ramadan. It's that rap phenomenon, Don Dada. Fuck Papa, you got to call me Francis M.H. White intake like toast.
Hashtag Basement Flow is Real. My name is Dave Cannon. I'm back with my guy Mike B. Mike, you were just mentioning on our last set about the Rockefellers, and we've seen that. For those that don't know, in school there was a crew of guys that hung out and they were dressed to the T all of the time back in Woodlands High School and around the area, Greenburgh, Westchester County area. How did that affect you in coming up? I mean, I know ambition and drive and things like that. Did coming up in Greenburgh impact any of that, and if so, how?
It definitely impacted that. Okay, so it was a combination of a few things. My family's Jamaican, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, coming up around certain cousins of ours and our god brothers in the Bronx and Queens and Brooklyn, you know, we were, Paul and Greg and I, and you know, a lot of people don't know, we grew up growing up in Harlem and going to church on 148th between Amsterdam and Broadway. And this is right smack dead in the middle of the crack era. So, you know, we were pretty much the flies on the wall that saw what was going on and how we were all products of our own environment, right?
Right.
Watching my cousins on how they were doing it with their silk suits and their ballies and, you know, the Chinese mock necks and the AJ Lesters and the British Walkers and the Nike Cortez and all of that whole early flow and the Pierre Cardin suits, like watching all of that automatically just caught my eye immediately. But then here we are going to school in Westchester, Greenburgh, New York. You know, I'm from the Hill, first of all, y'all. I just want to put that down.
Shout out to the Hill.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm from the Hill, County Center Road in Jackson, just so y'all know that real quick. You know, one of our main hangouts was Travis Park. If you ain't have no ball game or you ain't know how to play football, you couldn't even put your foot in that park right there.
Shout out to Travis Park.
Still, and so that right there, that's where I got my athletic hustles from. You know what I mean? And then, you know, moving forward, as I got older, I started hanging on the block, Fort Apache the block, and, you know, Manhattan Avenue, old projects, new projects, and, you know, back and forth to scatter sites in Elmsford and all of that. So, you know, watching the older dudes like the Sammy Phillips and Apps, rest in peace, and Epps, and you know, one of my favorite b-boys was Dante Jackson, and you know, Vaughn, Corey B. Like watching these dudes and Shy, you can't forget my man Shy. Watching all these dudes on how they was putting it down, it made me like not even skip a beat to what was going on in the city, because back then, you know, these were my big homies that I looked up to, also.
Right.
So what they was doing, they was bringing it down. They was going downtown, meeting up with Dapper Dan, getting their custom jackets and all of that early. You know, Rodney Postel was going downtown, getting his custom Dapper Dan early. So that right there, it's like, okay, yeah, we from Greenberg, but, we still, those fly dudes, wherever we went, we still turned heads, whether it was going to a party in White Plains or going to Mount Vernon or going to meet one of the honeys in Yonkers or whatever the case may be, or catching one of the basketball games in New Row. So that right there really was like, oh, man, now that I'm thinking about that era, it was one of the most incredible eras. And we talking mid-'80s, late '80s.
Right.
And also, I can't forget Mr. Thompson, who was like another second father in my life, to where he was bringing us downtown. He had this organization called Young Life, to where we was going downtown and he was taking us traveling the world playing basketball. And here we are playing downtown with kids from Harlem and Brooklyn and Queens. We was playing with Mace, we was playing with Cameron, we was playing with Corey Wright, you know what I mean, Kareem Reeves, Adrian Autry, Malik Sealy, rest in peace. So, and it wasn't just playing ball with these dudes that was tightening up my skills on the court, but getting still seeing how these dudes walk into the gym with their own little swaggonometry, with their style, like.
Right.
And back then, you can tell what hood or what borough these kids was from, because Brooklyn had they look. The Bronx had they look. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, when you see Brooklyn, Brooklyn was doing the Feli velours and, with the Felis and, you know what I mean? And then now when you go to the Bronx was doing, the Timberland Chuckers with the starter army coats and stuff like that. Then, when you go to Harlem was just like, Harlem was showtime. Harlem was just like, it was just something different about Harlem. You know what I mean? Queens was also on their fly little flow as well too. So I guess me being around all of this, I was like that. I guess I was like that fashion style sponge, because I was soaking everything up.
Right.
Everything. I was looking at details. I was looking how they laced their kicks up. I was looking how they was putting, like, not everybody would match the jacket with the sneakers, but the T-shirt under the jacket is what's matching with the socks. So when they sit down and your pants leg go up, your socks, you see the sock game matching your T-shirt and your belt game. It was just catching all those little details, man. It was just fascinating to me. And I was definitely oohing and on. I was like, yo, boom, 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 yo, you see how such and such. So what I would try and do is, when it's time for me to get dressed in the morning to go in school, I was trying to just emulate that as best as possible.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it just so happens that I was just hanging out with with the flyest cats that were from our town, like, as we was coming up. So, we all had cars, we had the Jeeps, and, we had all the gear and the fly cuts, because, Vaughn and Corey, they definitely kept our cuts fly. So,
right.
That was another thing. You can have the look and the fly gear. But if your cut wasn't right, if your lineup game wasn't right, if your flat top, your cameo, that half moon wasn't right, all of that, it's like all of that had to come inside and coincide together. It had to coordinate. You know what I'm saying? It had to coordinate. So I guess, all of that, it stuck with me. And as I always moved along, even still to this day, like, that's how I move. I told somebody the other day, man, I'm a B-boy for life. And, that's just how I came up. I don't really do, these tight jeans and, the dresses and all of that. And that's no disrespect to those that do it, because at the end of the day, we can't front. Andre 3000, that's one of my favorite rappers to this day.
Right?
Dre was doing female wigs. He was doing the female dresses. Like, Dre had his own type of style that, that was always left to things, like, you know what I mean? So I think that's what I think a lot of these new down south rappers, they're just another tree branch off of what Dre 3000 was doing or what CeeLo was doing, and you know what I mean? But I'm from the era where we get fly.
Right.
We come outside and our looks, our kicks is crispy, our looks, we just shine, and it could be nighttime and we still coming outside looking like the sun. You know what I mean?
Now, Mike, let me ask you this. I'm coming from the Bronx. My family moved up to Greenburgh, Manitou Trail back in '86. And, coming from the Bronx, the idea is that you go into a suburbs, it's going to be completely different. So before even touching down, you're just thinking it's going to be a simpler, easier, different neighborhood. And I think one of the biggest attributes that Greenburgh has is it really has a lot of everything. You've got, as you mentioned, Manhattan Ave. You've got the Hill. You've got Ferris Ave. You've got several different locations that give you a little bit of the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens. And then if we go into Westchester County, you've also got Mount Vernon, Yonkers, and things of that nature. Did kind of growing up in that area affect you in a way that you wanted to get more or bring about, or was it? Did you kind of have this idea anyway? Because it sounds like going to Harlem, you kind of had some of this stuff already in your mind. How did any of that work for you? How did you see it?
Well, I saw it just like as you said. How I saw Westchester and Greenburgh, I saw it as just like Manhattan or Brooklyn, all the other different boroughs, because the Hill was the Hill,
right?
The block was the block. Then you had the Hartsdale Central Avenue crew. You know what I mean? So it's like we then you had the Gibson Avenue crew,
right?
Then you had the Juniper Hill posse. So all of that still came into play. Then you had some folks that was from Granadas. You had the Granada crew, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was still that culture that was going on that I was already accustomed to seeing running around downtown as a kid. It was all happening organically during this time, and at the same time, people think, okay, yeah, just because we from Greenburgh, don't sleep. We went to Howard University, we went to Howard Homecoming every year. Yeah, we was going to Virginia Beach every year. Yeah, we was jumping in our whips and all of that trading. Everybody in our crew had at least 1 to 2 whips in our crew, so we was trading whips and all of that. And it was like, we was hitting the Philly Greek Fesses and all of that. And everywhere we went, we made sure people knew where we was from.
Right.
They knew we were from Greenburgh because we let it be known that we were from Greenburgh. And yeah, a couple of times when I was, going back to the office at Bad Boy, the way I was coming in, a lot of people thought I was from Brooklyn because of the way I was just doing low so much, because you got the low lives in Brooklyn. Right. But I had to let them know. I was like, especially with D-Dot, still to this day, D-Dot says, Mike B is from Greenburgh. Mike B is from Greenburgh. So they know that, because the office at the time, Puff was Harlem, but Puff was also coming up from Mount Vernon.
Right.
Groovy Lou was Mount Vernon. Then you had Hev, Mount Vernon. Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Young Guns, Mount Vernon. Mary J. Blige, Yonkers.
Right.
LOX, Yonkers. Jeff Red, Mount Vernon. So you still had that 914 going on, but there wasn't nobody in the game that was representing White Plains, really. The only person I'll say that was representing White Plains, hard body, was Chris Latimer. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when Chris really put it down for White Plains is when when I saw him on the cover of Black Enterprise, and it was during the birth of the phase of these computers were going, and Chris was just ahead of his time in the way the cover was. He was walking through curtains of mouses just hanging.
Right.
You know what I mean? The mouse from the computer.
Yeah.
It was like a bunch of mouses just hanging down, and he was just making his way through the mouses. So what put Greenburgh on the map what put White Plains and Greenburgh on the map is when Chris started throwing these celebrity basketball games at Westchester County Center. And that's when he brought Hev up, Naughty by Nature, Salt and Pepper, Slick Rick, Dougie Fresh. Whoever rapper or R&B or whatever, whoever was just hot in that culture for us, Chris brought them up there. It wasn't us going downtown to the celebrity game. Chris brought it up to Westchester, to our home.
Right.
So that's where people really started noticing, okay, 914 is popping. You know what I mean? Let's not forget now, Denzel Washington is from Mount Vernon.
Right.
A lot of y'all may not know Dick Clark is from Mount Vernon. Felicia Rashad is from Mount Vernon. You know what I mean? So, you know, Malcolm X had a crib in Mount Vernon. Nina Simone had a crib in Mount Vernon 2 houses down from Malcolm X. So, you know, Atlantic Star is from Greenberg. So, you know, 914 was always there. Like, you know what I mean?
Now, Mike, let me ask you this.
Greenberg.
You've worked with a lot of people. I've done some research. I'm talking Alicia Keys, Swiss Beats, Nas, LeBron James. Did the, you know, it always comes up sometimes. It ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. Did any of that come? Did you find yourself having to prove anything different because this styles or this company or this brand may be from Harlem where they think it's, you know, you're from Greenberg? Did you feel that any of that was ever a taint towards you, or it was just so outblown that it didn't even matter, and it somewhat brought a lot of this stuff back to Westchester?
Not at all, because at the end of the day, like I said, I knew who I was, I know who I am,
right?
And at the same time, like I said, we was already on, me and my homies, we was already on that fly-ish, like from beginning, from day one. So when you not on any conceited aspect,
right?
Just, I'm talking confidence, self-confidence, and when it's a thing, it's that thing that person has. You know what I mean? It's just that thing where it puts your whole swaganomics together. The way you walk, the way you talk. You know what I mean? It's the way you put that look together. When you walk in that room and everybody is just looking, it's like, I don't know what it is. It's that essence that we already had. So by then, how I'm working, how I'm blessed to be able to work with all these different clients, I always felt like, look, now you know who I am. You're hiring me for this particular job. So you already know what I'm about to bring to the table, and you know what I do. So you putting me to this new client, you already have the idea that I get it.
Right.
I know what it is. You understand? Like, okay, I know LeBron, he's a very big guy, but at the end of the day, Bron likes to get fly, right?
Right.
But I know there's certain designers that I can only put on Bron that would fit him perfectly. It's Ralph is for one. It's Ferragamo is another look, you know. So when I'm doing these State Farm commercials and these McDonald's commercials with LeBron, I already know what I'm bringing to the table, because on another note, a homegirl of mine who's like my sister, Rachel Johnson, she was LeBron's assistant. She was LeBron's stylist. She was LeBron's personal stylist at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
What put me into the game to start working with LeBron is that I have a client, Steve Stout. For those that don't know, Steve Stout is AKA the commissioner.
Right.
Some of y'all may know that Steve Stout found Nas. Steve Stout was Nas's manager.
Yep.
Steve Stout was also an A&R at Interscope.
Big
but
name.
today he's known, I call him the bridge, because Steve Stout is the bridge between entertainment and corporate. So for an example, Steve Stout brought Justin Timberlake to McDonald's, and they came up with the jingle, I'm Loving It. Okay?
Right.
Steve Stout is behind all these State Farm commercials with Chris Paul. Like, so you know, like I did the Chris Paul commercials with Chris Paul, and you know, first before Chris Paul came, I did the LeBron State Farm commercials. I did the LeBron McDonald's commercial. I did the.
You're doing big things, Mike. How does it when you're in these arenas? Does it just go by fast? Does it something that, you know, or do you ever soak in the moment like, yo, I'm here, I'm actually doing a shoot with LeBron James, with Chris Paul? Does it soak in, or are you're in that moment where it's like, it's, you know, boom, boom, you're making this fly and it's going and it's moving? What's your take?
It's funny you say that, because when I'm shopping, I'm in a zone.
Right.
When I'm prepping, I'm in a zone. When I'm doing mood boards, I'm in a zone. When I'm on set and I'm about to put the looks together and laying everything out, and introducing myself and meeting everybody when they come to set, and early in the morning I'm in a zone. But it's not until they put that first look on and they get in front of the camera, and I'm able to step back now, and I'm looking either at the monitor or I'm standing next to the photographer, and that's when it kind of like starts to hit me like, oh shoot. First it's like, oh, okay, he looks good, he looks fly, he's comfortable in front of the camera. I'll go back and I'll adjust a few things real quick before they say action or whatever the case may be. But then after a while, it's like I'm looking at the look and I'm like, oh shoot, like I just did that.
Right.
I get word, like, hold on, where am I at right now? I'm in Miami right now doing a State Farm commercial. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, or sometimes it doesn't even hit me while I'm on set. Sometimes it doesn't hit me until I see the photographs, or if I see the commercial or the video come on the screen, or if I see the layout from a photo shoot in a magazine and how everything just, comes together, fruition. It's like, that's when I guess it starts to hit me like, oh shoot, really? Like I just did that. Like, there's a Erykah Badu and Q-Tip cover magazine that I did, and when I saw that, Tip was always I was always a fan of Tip coming up, and when I saw the magazine cover, and I was like, wow, I just did Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest.
Right.
I can't believe it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or, working with the Luda.
Introducing everybody that doesn't seem to get enough props. Mike B is in the house. I Bogart. Man, it's a lot of good things, man.
Or the Nas is like it. At first, I'm just focused on what I have to do and what needs to be executed. But yes, I'm not gonna lie. At the end of the day, I'm still a fan of this.
Right.
You know what I mean? I still buy music. I don't wait for a complimentary CD. I'm still on iTunes, or I still buy it. Sometimes I'll go to the store and still buy the CD because I want to pop the CD in, because I don't have enough room on my iPod or on my phone to download the music again. So I'll just pop the CD in, or I still get mixtapes. I'm still a fan of this hip-hop, or just this culture alone that we grew up and we've known to love. You understand? So,
right.
When I'm called to do a rock-aware lifestyle shoot, and I'm styling Jay and the rest of the models, and it's like I'll give you this real quick synopsis.
Uh-huh.
So early, my homegirl, she calls me. She's like, "Yo, I got this producer I really want to put you on to." And during Miami or the VMAs, maybe you can meet him while all of this is going down. Why? Because during the time of this right now, my clients for the VMAs during Miami, it was Chris Brown, T-Pain, Pitbull, Carmelo Anthony, and I still had to drop something off to D-Wade, right? Lo and behold, my homegirl's like, "Yo, I want you to go meet this producer. What's his name?" His name is Kanye West. And I'm like, "Word?" I'm like, "All right, cool." I didn't know Ye like that, but I was aware of what he did because he was signed by Damon Dash. He was just a producer now, right? Keep that in mind. So they're like, "Okay, where do you want me to meet him?" "He's at Ball Harbor Mall. You should. He'll probably be at the Louis Vuitton store." "All right, cool, whatever." I go there. And as I approach the store, there's people being asked to leave the store. Like, there's a crowd out, not only outside the store, but people are being asked to leave the store. So I'm like, what's going on? Was there a robbery, or, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some fire or whatever? So, I walk up to the window to peep what's going on. I see Ye's manager, John Monopoly, at the time, and I knock on the window, and I was like, "Yo, whoa, whoa, whoa." So the John points to the security guard to let me in. So when he lets me in the store, it's now coming to the point where I realize they actually had everybody leave the store so Kanye can get his shopping in. This is early.
Right.
Early, before he's even known as this rapper.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, hold on. Wait a minute, this guy got the store to himself. And as this is going on, this is taking me back to when Johnny Versace used to shut the store down for me, Puff and Big, and Groove, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm like, who is known, but yet and still people know who he is, and he's got the whole Louis store on smash, right? So, that there alone, I knew that this kid was about to turn into the monster that y'all would have never thought that he is today.
I got to ask you, we mentioned Kanye. We've all seen the Kanye. Kanye obviously is huge on fashion. At least that's what the appeal is that we see in the interviews and from 10,000 Feet, the Sway interview. It ain't Ralph though. We've seen all of that. Is that the mastermind that typically is behind fashion? Is it as sincere and direct as maybe someone like he presents it, or is maybe his drive and ambition a little bit different?
That's just Ye.
Okay.
That's the Yeezy effect. You know what I mean? That's just Ye himself. To me, I see Ye's got a grip on the culture and the lifestyle right now so crazy. From the Yeezys being online on sale for $20K and people sleeping outside around the corner, like Ye created all of this hype, because at the end of the day, what Ye is doing is really nothing different from what any other rapper was doing before. Been telling you about Tim's for my hooligans from Brooklyn, Donna Karen for my honeys, and Timbo's being thrown out the windows with my polos, and like that's nothing. Moet Sean Don and Don P sipping. Like, Ye is doing nothing different from what Spoonie G was talking about. Looking at my Gucci, it's about that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of that is. It's still the same thing. It's just what it is Ye is in front of this spotlight right now, and he's just doing it a little bit different to where the social media is now coming into play. And back then we didn't have social media.
True.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So now you got Twitter, you got Kanye breaking the internet, and he's married, he's with the Kardashians, like he's a monster right now.
Right.
So to the youth, he's the god. He's the god right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not mad at Ye at all for what he's doing. You know what I mean? Because he's just pushing the envelope on a different perspective to what Puff and Big was doing.
Right.
You understand? So it's like rap only had a very few handful of rappers that understood this fashion, not even just fashion, just style.
Right.
Organically. You understand? So it's like, you like my first fly rapper back in the days was Curtis Blow. Like I'm watching Crush Groove, and when I seen Curtis Blow come up on the rooftop to meet Run, and he comes on the project roof with this white butter leather jacket, I was like, oh man, this is crazy right here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then from Curtis Blow, you got Run DMC with the leather blazers and the fedoras and the shell toes and the Adidas sweatsuits. Now you go into Slick Rick. Slick Rick is showing you the Bally's, the silk suits, the truck jewelry, and the furry gold, the furry Kangos tilted to the side and all of that. Then you got your B-boys. You got KRS One. You know what I'm saying? You got Big Daddy Kane. You got G-Rap. And so after that era, I feel like the next fly cats that was really putting it down to change the culture was probably Puff and Big.
Right. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Criss Cross was doing their thing. They had everybody turning their clothes backwards and all of that, but that wasn't me, though. That's not my style. I never owned not one piece of cross colors in my life, But it was just a different phase, you know what I mean?
What about Death Row? What about Death Row Records back then, around that same time when Pac's out and they got the all red, and I don't know if they were mimicking the East.
See, that was different.
Okay.
That was different. That was more, gang related on wearing specific colors, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
so if you Damu, you Blood and all of that, then, you that's your thing. You gotta wear all red. If you Uncle Snoop is, he was Crip life, so that blue, true down from the true up from the blue up. So that was something different. But I feel like, now, don't get me wrong, Death Row was doing something different, but nobody in Death Row was fly. Pac was probably the flyest cat in Death Row.
Right.
But let's put that in perspective. Pac is from New York.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
True.
Pac was Bronx. Pac went to Eastview and White Plains. You know what I'm saying? Pac went to Bmore. Pac was East Coast. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how Pac brought all of that to Death Row. You know what I'm saying? So, no disrespect, Dre wasn't really known for getting fly. Snoop wasn't known for getting fly. Snoop was fly on his own wave though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
his
saying?
Ambiance, yeah.
He was fly on his own type of flow. But, I really feel like for that mid '90s, Puff took it somewhere else, man. Like nobody was wearing dress suits like that until we started putting dress suits on, you know what I'm saying? Nobody was throwing all white parties in the Hamptons. You understand what I'm saying? Like Puff was the one to start mixing ghetto music, but made it so fly that even the suburban or that
he was the bridge.
Local white kid was listening to B.I.G. It was a different perspective now on what was going down and mixing the two cultures and really, really taking this to the next level. You know what I'm saying? So right now, I feel like all eyes are on Kanye West right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Kanye is telling everybody, yo, he got my Yeezys. He's got the Yeezy collection. It's just, Ye is doing his thing.
He's killing it right now. I gotta say,
Ye can put out doo-doo with a pair of shoelaces, and they're gonna go around the corner and they're gonna copy.
I'm gonna say this. I mean? My man Mike B is the prince of fashion for a reason. This guy doesn't do it; he lives it. Y'all are getting an education here. We're gonna take one quick commercial break. We'll be right back for the last segment. Dave Cannon, Mike B, #BasementFlowIsReal. We'll be right back.
And even if it's all about the money, I don't really care. I got a lot of money, it's enough of it that we can share. And even if it's all about the money, I don't really care. I got a lot of money, it's enough of it that we can share. Feel my pride and joy.
Courtside at the Knick game, who the Dom? Plus I worked on your kick game, Louis Vuitton. Birkin bags made a pipe.
#BasementFlowIsReal. My name's Dave Cannon. Of course, I'm here with the fashion prince himself, Mike B, who's everything on everything. Mike, a minute ago we were talking about East, West, and some fashion. You wanted to add something to it. Talk to us.
Yeah, real quick though. I just want y'all to know, when I call myself the Prince of Fashion, it's only to keep myself humble. You know what I mean? Because, a lot of people, they running around calling themselves the kings, and that's no disrespect, but at the same time, I feel like, when you claim you're the king, it's like you feel like you know it all. So me calling myself the Prince of Fashion is just allowing growth for me, and at the same time, it keeps me being a student to life. So I just wanted to put that out there real quick. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I'm still your favorite fashion stylist. I'm still the Guy Fisher of fashion. But touching back on the hip hop style and to the different eras, we can't forget the Wu.
Definitely.
The Wu came right after Nas, but a little before Big, they all three of those guys. Nas came first,
right?
But I feel like the Wu, after Nas brought it back to this street look,
right?
Of getting fly on regular street, and not even going into the tailored garments and all of that. I feel like the Wu and Nas put a cap on that drug dealer fly. You know what I mean? To where, Nas was doing the army coats with the beef and broccolis and, the bucket hats and, where the Wu and especially Wu, like Ray and Ghost, they was probably, I would say, the two of the flyest superheroes out of the Wu, how they was just putting their garments together and, dipping the wild marble cake and the blue and the cream. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to add that and put that in perspective because they too was also doing like the Sergio Tacchini sweatsuits and, you know, the Versace tops and all of that as well.
Now, let me ask you this, Mike, since we brought them up. Back then, at least in that time, we know now, there was some subliminal, whether we call it competitive or rivalry between the camps, between the Nas and Big and the Wu, and more specifically the Ghost and Ray. And do you think any of that stuff was strictly lyrical, or do you think some of it may have elevated itself towards style because someone may have felt someone was kind of take their style, their look, their appeal, and things of that nature?
I would say it's a little of both because it's hip hop.
Right.
It's healthy for hip hop. Hip hop was always a competitive thing. At the same time, the rappers to us are our narrators to what's going on in our hoods.
Right.
There are our forecast. You know what I mean? Just like how when it comes to me being a stylist, I try to be the forecast. I call myself the thermostat because I control whether your style is hot or not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what these rappers were doing. Now, whether if it was beef between Nas and Big and the Wu and all of that, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is because it's competition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's competition, and they was all nice. But they all grew up in that battle era.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, you know, I feel like, man, it's a two-edged sword, man. It's a two-edged sword. It goes both ways.
It is a two-edged sword. Now, listen, I know that you're a hip-hop. I know that you're heavy into hip-hop, so I got a few hip-hop questions for you that I'd like to ask you. We had your brother on. Shout out to Greg. Shout out to Paul. I got to get Paul on here. I know he works out. Fitness regime is crazy. But let me ask you this. They say that all of your life, that a lifetime sometimes is what it takes to make one's first LP. What do you say is the most classic song off an artist's, hip-hop artist that is, off a hip-hop artist's first LP? We're just talking about first LPs, not second, third. What is the most classic song off of a first LP?
In hip-hop of all time?
In hip-hop.
That one record?
And what one record? There's a lot of them out there. I mean, I could give you mine, but there's a lot of them out there. But the first album, the most classic song, it's so many out there. It's a rough one. For me, it's Illmatic. For me, it's Nas's Illmatic, and it's The World Is Yours. When I hear The World Is Yours, first of all, I think it's debatable, but I think Illmatic is arguably.
But The World Is Yours wasn't a first single.
No, not single. I'm sorry. Yeah, not first single. Just a song. Just the most classic. Yeah, just the most classic song. Yeah, not a single. Classic song of any first artist's LP.
For me, I would say Eric B. for president.
Make 'em clap to this.
To show our appreciation.
That's a good one. Paid in full. Eric B. for president. You know,
Eric B. for president.
I was tossed up.
And the reason why I say that, when Rakim came out, everybody changed their whole format of the way they rhyme.
Right.
It wasn't just about hip hop, you don't stop, da ha anymore, or yo, I'm rocking, I'm going this and that. Rakim brought the sense of being righteous.
Right.
I'm still from the streets. You can't forget Rakim too. Rakim was on some first fly shit too. God
The
damn.
Paid in Full posse.
The Paid in Full posse. You had the original 50 Cent on that back of that cover album from Brooklyn. Eric B, one of the first original true hustlers, still like really putting it down. Like the way Ra and Eric was doing these Dapper Dan suits, all so crazy. You can't forget. I can't forget them, man. Cause when Rakim came out, it was about learning your lessons, man.
Right.
He brought a certain intelligence to this hip hop game, man, and it just changed everything. When that and when you heard that voice, I came in the door. I said it before. I never let the mic magnetize me no more because it's biting me, fighting me, inviting me to rhyme. I can't hold it back. I'm looking for the line, taking off my coat, clearing my throat. Like, he's taking you through. He's taking you through a journey. He's letting you know. Clearing my throat, the rhymes will be kicking until I hit my last note. Sometimes, oh my God, man.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Kidding me?
So let me ask you this, Mike. The look now, we're talking about the look. We're going back to looks. Dapper Dan, BDP posse, paid in full posse, circa 86, 87. Who's got the better look?
BDP posse or the paid in full posse?
Mm-hmm. That's a rough one. BDP had them jackets, them all black, white, BDP
yeah, but
crew.
you can't forget of Rakim and Eric B sitting on the back of that Benz when they had that black and gold Dapper Dan look on. See, let me tell you what it is. The difference between Dapper Dan and the difference between the two Dapper Dans. Shout out to Dapper Dan too, who's like my big uncle. Where it's a blessing to be able to go down and still sit down with him, do lunch and breakfast and dinner with Dap, and still get the knowledge that he still passes on to me. But just so you know, the difference between, you can't compare the two because they were orange and apples. And the reason why I say this is because Chris KRS-One, to y'all, was not wearing labels. He wasn't doing any designer like MCM or Fendi or Louis Vuitton or Gucci jackets. Chris was doing his own thing. So when my Philosophy record came out, and he had on the black leather jacket with the white polka dots, the giant dots, which was really a symbolize of the sun, moon, and the star. You understand what I'm saying? That was something totally different. You know what I mean? Now, when you're talking about Rakim and Eric B., they was doing the Gucci, they was doing the MCM, they was doing the Fendi, they was doing the Louis Vuitton. They was doing something different compared to what KRS-One was doing.
Right.
Now we can't forget about Big Daddy Kane when he came through the Stop the Violence video when he had the full MCM leather trench on. You know what I mean? But where do they get all of this from? I say it again, the street hustlers.
Right.
Because it came from Rich Porter and Alpo and all these dudes, and Mike Tyson and all these dudes going to Dapper Dan and copping these coats, Kevin Childs and all these dudes, like, you know what I'm saying? And Freddie Myers and all these cats, like those are the superheroes that I was looking up to. The Rodney Postels and the Shahs and all these dudes, like, they was the ones that the rappers were looking at.
Right.
We never knew, well, I knew, but, those on the outside looking in never knew until that video came on Video Music Box or Yo MTV Raps. You understand what I'm saying? So when it came to this hip-hop thing and getting fly and the way they was dressing and putting it down, I truly have to say New York City put it down, man. Like, Miami, Luke Skywalker and them, they wasn't getting fly. They was doing what they did because, they was doing the starter jackets, the satin jackets and all that, but we was doing that already. You know what I'm saying? LA wasn't really doing what anything fly, but they was doing what they did. And it was about wearing the Carhartt jackets and the Dickie suits and all of that, like, you know what I'm saying, with the Chuck Taylors and the Raiders hats and wearing all black with the Los Angeles Kings hockey shit, and it, like they put that down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and then when ATL came, ATL was a whole different flow. So, I'm not saying that any other market was flyer than the other market. I'm just speaking upon what I grew up watching as far as what I love to see. And what I love to see was fly, super fly. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that, these guys that were doing whatever they were doing in their market, I'm sure that there was cats growing up looking up to them were saying, oh, they fly, they looking dope. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But let's not forget, like, when hip-hop started in New York City, man, listen, man, when Melly Mel and them kids did The Message, and they was in they street looks, Africa Bambaataa and all these dudes, how they was doing it in they different looks and uniforms, New York City was putting it down, man. There was nobody dressing like New York City, dude. I didn't have Google, man.
Right.
Y'all kids, man, whoever's listening to this interview here, take advantage of any information that you can grasp, because y'all got so much at the tip of your finger, all this Google and social media and podcasts and Tumblrs and all of this stuff. Man, take advantage of this, man, because I grew up in the era of Britannica and world encyclopedias and all of that, like, you know what I'm saying, and dictionaries. So, yo, man, do y'all lessons, y'all. Take advantage of what y'all got right now, B.
Listen, I want to say, man, there's a difference to the viewership out there. There's a difference in knowing something and owning something, and it's evident by what we got here that Mike B actually owns this style thing. I can see exactly why he's at where he's at in this. And I was reading recently on a social media where it said you'd given out some sneakers, some recent sneakers, maybe Nikes, some new Jordans to a homeless guy who may have been wearing cardboard shoes or socks or something like that. Very humble. My guy Mike B is in the building. Mike, where can these people, if the people out there want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
You gotta catch me if you can, man. Hashtag catch me if you can. Hashtag hustler in style. Hashtag Prince of Fashion Mike B. Hashtag note to self. Hashtag knowledge self. Hashtag you need to learn though. But at the end of the day, you can catch me at iBogard. IBOGARD, as in David. iBogard, like iPhone. You can catch me at BogardWorldwide.com. Catch the website. I got Bogart by Mike B coming at y'all in any second now, which is unisex accessories. Yo, man, you can catch me in a hood near you, man. I still walk that pavement. That's my office. The office is the streets. You know what I mean? Or if I'm in the car on my phone, that's my office. That's really what it is.
Mike B, I appreciate you. I completely appreciate you coming through tonight. Do you have anything that you want to let the viewership know? Someone out there that maybe would like to go to the route that you may have gone. What would you recommend or suggest to anyone out there that may be hearing this and maybe is motivated by you? Because I know I am motivated by what you've said tonight.
I mean, it's as simple as just carrying your shield and your sword. Your shield and your sword is your notebook and your pen. Write down as much information as possible. Make a things to do list when you wake up in the morning. So at the end of the day, you check. By the end of the day, you have everything checked off and you see your accomplishments and what you executed. Don't be afraid to dream, because your dream will always become a reality. But at the end of the day, learn your history on fashion or whatever it is that you want to be when you grow up. And, do your homework. I always say, do your homework, man. Y'all can catch my posts. If I tag somebody on one of my posts, I'm going to always tell y'all, do your homework. I'm not just sitting there just to be popping shit or saying what I'm saying, but I'm seriously, literally telling y'all to do your homework. I'm not just standing or posing pictures and just saying, hey, look at me. Nah, I'm with somebody that either I admire, I look up to, somebody that inspires me, or somebody that I get my lessons from. Basically, you know what I mean? Each one teach one, man. Iron sharpens iron.
Man, you've heard it here, man. Mike, I appreciate you coming out. Hashtag BasementFlowIsReal. My name's Dave Cannon. Mike B. We appreciate you guys listening. We'll be back next week in another episode. Appreciate it. We out of here.